at the Stanton Center, which they used to do go-go's every Friday night and bring bands down from DC. And the first time I saw a girl taking her clothes off, I was like, sign me up. That was it. That's all it took.
We'll be talking to members from the hottest go-go bands out of the DMV area right here. Keep it locked.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands in the air for the godfather of go-go, my father, your father, Chuck.
What's up, everybody? My name is Kenny Ken Dog Haskins Jr. Everybody know me as KD. We started this show in hopes of bridging the gap between fans and their favorite musicians when it comes to the go-go circuit. A lot of people, they've been rocking with bands for years and years and don't even know not one person in the band's name. At the same time, we wanted to make sure that we're doing our part to make sure that go-go lives on forever. So without further ado, I want to see if you guys can guess who this next band is. Candy, roll that clip.
Yeah. Hey, get down with it. Yo, get down with the party. Charles, but not the bigger hooner. I got the whole thing. All around, but not the big.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so if you just watched that small clip and you guessed that that was Northeast Groovers, and you was absolutely right. So today we have with us a young man known for being the manager of Mambo Sauce, formerly with Northeast Groovers. I bring to everybody my man Malachi John. Malachi, what up, what up, what up, what up? How you doing?
What's up, man? How are you? Thanks for calling me a young man. I appreciate it.
You know, that goes a long way. That goes a long way. But so yeah, Malachi, I wanted to ask you, man, before we get started, excuse me, before we get started, man, how's the COVID-19 and everything going out there in California?
Well, it was going all right, and then they just shut everything down again yesterday. So my wife is a hairstylist, and she had been, rocking and rolling for the last few weeks when they opened back up, and everybody wanted to get their hair done. And then yesterday they just announced restaurants, bars, hair places. I work out of a co-working space in Hollywood. They shut that down too. So.
Wow.
But luckily I have co-working spaces in my building too, where we live in Long Beach, so I can work out of here from that.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, they made everybody think it was opening back up, and then they just shut everything right back down.
I knew it wasn't going to happen. They should have done was shut everybody all across the country down at the same time. Yeah. But we have an idiot in charge. But this isn't a political show, so I won't do that.
Yeah. Well, we dealing with the same thing over here in Florida, man. They opened us up. I don't think they shut us down yet. I try not to keep up with it. My wife, she always in my ear with the numbers here, the numbers there. I'm just like, man.
I forgot you were in Florida. You guys got it even worse than we do.
Man, I know. We had some people visiting us from DC, but they changed their mind because they seen our numbers spiked up. So they gave us a phone call. We ain't gonna make it.
Same here.
Yes, it's good. It's all good. I can't wait till this whole COVID thing is over. I swear.
Tell me about it. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, Malachi, man, we gonna jump straight into it, man. The first question I got for you. First of all, let me welcome you to FaceTime with GoGo. First question I got for you, when did you start playing the guitar?
I started playing guitar when I was 6 years old, playing classical guitar.
Okay. So are you originally from the DMV area?
Yeah, I'm from Annapolis.
Okay, cool. So what made you choose go-go as a music?
Well, I started when I was 6. I started playing in a punk rock band when I was 12. When I was 15, there was a guy who lived down the street from me. Let me take that back. When I was 11 in 6th grade, I was in a talent show and I had no idea what go-go was. And a couple of guys were like, "Hey, we want you to play in this talent show with us. You know what go-go is?" And I was like, "No." And they were like, you know who Chuck Brown is? I was like, I know who James Brown is. I had zero idea. So 6th grade is when I found out about go-go, but then it sort of fell out of my, consciousness until I was about 15. And there was a guy that lived down the street from me who I had 2 little guitar practice amps, the little tiny ones like this big, and he wanted to buy one. And so when he came over to my house, I played my guitar through it so he could hear it. And he was like, hey man, I want you to join my band. And prior to that, I guess I remembered it prior to that because I knew that I had some friends that would play tapes that were like, it must have been Northeast Groovers or Backyard. I can't remember who it was, but I just was like, I don't understand what's going on. Like, why is the guy talking? Who is he talking to? Like, why is the singer singing off key? Why are they banging on shit? I just didn't understand it at all. And then this guy asked me to come play in his band. And I said okay because like he and I became friends, and then we ended up playing in a band together. That band was called Occupation, and a lot of people from that you probably know have played in that band. Like if you know Lime Green from Project 360, practiced in his basement. He was the only person that didn't vote to have me in the band because he didn't want a white guy in the band. And but also generally who took Rapper's place when Rapper left Northeast Groovers was from that band. Keyboard Chris that played with Northeast Groovers and Mambo Sauce came from that band. And Mike Arnold that plays for Team Familiar and Familiar Faces play for that band. And also Antoine, who also goes by Teo, who used to sing for Drew Hill, who's now with Still Familiar, came from that band. Okay. And also DB, that's the lead talker for Project 360, came from that band too. All sort of at different times, but all of those guys played in that band. And so and really where it turned the corner for me was when I played my first show with them at the Stanton Center, which they used to do go-go's every Friday night and bring bands down from DC. And the first time I saw a girl taking her clothes off, I was like, sign me up. That was it. So it took.
Yeah. So how many bands have you been in? I thought it was just Northeast Groovers.
Oh no. So I started with Occupation. I played with Optimistic Tribe. I played, I think, 1 or 2 shows with I think they were called All in One. I can't remember what they were called, but it was that shake your hips to the left and to the right. I think they were called All for One. I can't remember. But I played a couple of shows with them, just filling in. I played with I guess there was another band from Annapolis called Anonymous that was just kind of like a put together band. And then I played with Northeast Groovers. We turned it into Solo. Actually, I came up with the name Solo. I played with them for a while, but then I got tired of playing cover songs. I moved away to Vegas and LA for the first time. Then I came back and I played for the What Band. And then I played again for Northeast Groovers. Filled in with Backyard for, 4 or 5 months when most of the guys were on tour with Raheem Devon. And then I created and managed and played for and did everything else for Mambo Sauce as well.
Wow. You got a long resume there, my friend.
Man, I'm old, but thanks for calling me young.
So let me ask you this one. Does it ever, what was it like sometimes being the only white person at a band practice, at a show? Was it odd at all, or you just felt right at home?
I think maybe when I first started playing, it was a little weird. I know I went to Morgan State for a couple of years, and it was like I had already by that time, been the only white guy in almost every single situation I was in. And so it was at that point where there was a bunch of people that didn't know me that were kind of looking at me weird or whatever. And that felt a little weird, but I also understood it because they don't know me. They don't know where I come from.
Yeah, exactly.
But it didn't really affect me at all, to be honest with you. I just didn't even really look at it that way. I just didn't.
Okay, I got you.
I hate to use the cliche, I don't see color, because obviously I do see color, but I was raised to not, like my family is, my whole family is very liberal and left, and, so it just wasn't even a thing for me.
Okay. All right, so next question I got for you. I understand that you was the manager of Mambo Sauce. Can you tell us? Tell us what that was like, managing a band at that caliber.
Well, I wasn't really supposed to be the manager. Basically, what happened was so I was playing in solo. I got tired of playing all cover songs. That was like the birth of the Grown and Sexy movement.
Yeah.
And I decided that I didn't want to do it anymore. So I had a friend from college. When I went to college in Montana, I had a friend that had moved to Vegas, and I went to go visit him. And he was trying to convince me to come to move to Vegas. And so I ended up, getting frustrated with the band. I moved to Vegas, worked as a promotions director for a radio station there.
Okay.
And took a seminar on how to start your own record label in LA, because it's only about 3 hours away from Vegas. And I stayed with a great aunt. She was like, if you want to move out here, you can stay here. So I moved to LA. I basically starved for about a year, and I decided that I wanted to try to put together, throughout my time in Vegas and all this, I decided I wanted to put together basically a band that would do for go-go music what the band No Doubt did for ska music. So I don't know if you know the band No Doubt, but that's the band that Gwen Stefani, if you know her, she was in that band.
Yeah.
And they took a sort of an also niche form of music called ska music that's like sped up reggae sort of, that was big in the punk rock scene, which is what I had come from prior to getting into go-go.
Right.
And they basically put a bunch of pop and rock and hip hop and traditional reggae elements into the sound, and basically became like the biggest band in the world. So as I was putting this together, No Doubt was like on top of the world, this huge successful band, and I wanted to do that. And there's a lot of stories, but I was in LA and I was seeing these bands play. And there was actually a young lady named Cy Smith who's from DC. And she had a band out here. I interviewed her a couple of weeks ago on my show.
Was it a go-go band or?
Well, it wasn't a go-go band, but it was close. And after I left from LA, she did start doing go-go's, and she has been doing go-go's out here. Like Prince would come to her shit.
Wow.
But it wasn't a go-go band, but the drummer in her, so her band was called Star 69. It was her and the two other, if I'm not mistaken, background singers from Macy Gray, because she's a good background singer from Macy Gray. So they were the vocalists, and then the drummer was Shawnee Baby. They used to play for Pleasure.
Okay.
So they weren't a go-go band, but you could tell it was there a little bit.
Yeah.
And they played with this other band called Fourth Avenue Jones that was, if you remember that song, Back in the Day When I Was Young, I'm Not a Kid Anymore.
Yeah.
So it was that guy, Ahmad, and his wife, and their band was so fucking killing, and both bands were amazing. And I was just like, man, this is like almost like a go-go, but it's in LA, and there's no congos and there's no percussion and no lead talker, but it just felt the same almost.
Was it original?
What's that?
Not to cut you off, but was it original music they was playing?
Yeah. I think they might have done a cover or two, but it was if it wasn't all original, it was the opposite of go-go. Like it was, if go-go is 80% covers and 20% original. They were the flip side. So, that sort of gave me the confidence. Then I was going to see some of these other neo soul groups and stuff in LA, and I was like, these motherfuckers can't hang with a go-go band, like not even close. But seeing Star 69 and 4th Avenue Jones sort of really inspired me to be like, I think I could do something that would have a bigger impact. And if you look at the makeup of the band called 4th Avenue Jones, it's exactly the same lineup as Mambo Sauce, except instead of a percussion player, a conga player, they had a violinist, an electric violinist.
Okay.
So they were more like hip hop, but they had a guy and a girl on the front, and the guy could sing a little bit and rap, and the girl could really sing and rap a little bit. And so that's what I wanted to do, was put that together. I originally tried to put it together out here, and this was like pre-ubiquitous internet. So I was like putting ads in, whatever the equivalent of the city paper is out here for people that knew go-go. But I was getting like these, at the time I was 22, 23, and I would get like these 40-year-old white guys, like as old as me now, that are like, yeah, Trouble Funk. And I was like, that's not, I love Trouble Funk, but that's not what I'm trying to create here. I'm trying to create like something that could go on MTV. Yeah. MTV was still a thing at the time. I was trying to create a current version of what, the new form of go-go could be. So I couldn't find anybody to do it out here. I ended up moving back home and in 2003 and started putting the band together. And so anyway, long ass answer to your question, I really wasn't supposed to be the manager. I really started a record label. So my record label was Red Sea Records, and I put Mambo Sauce together to be the first act off of my record label. The idea was that there would be more bands because it takes more than one to sort of create a movement. Right. And I was trying to create sort of the blueprint that other bands could use and follow, and we could really move go-go to the national and international stage versus just the one that it's been on. So, I sort of was the chief, as they say, the chief cook and bottle washer of that. I did all the graphics. I booked all the shows. I produced all the records. I played on all the records except for one. I pretty much did everything there is to be done except for play everybody else's instrument. And, I co-wrote all the songs, almost all the songs. So, okay. It was a lot of work.
Okay. So do you think you got everything out of Mambo Sauce, that project that you was trying to get out of it?
No. I not even close. Like, well, for one, I lost money on it. I never made a dime off of it. I let me just say, I gained a lot. It wasn't what I wanted, but I gained a lot. I gained a lot of perspective. I gained a lot of experience. We obviously had some success. I of course would have liked to have made some money on it. Of course would have, like, where we got was just sort of like the very beginning stepping stone of where I was really trying to go. And just sort of hit the wall of the typical go-go mentality of, oh, now I have local success, I'm a celebrity, and everybody should roll out the red carpet for me. But I'm eternally grateful for the experience, and it also, gave me the confidence to know that, okay, like, this was my vision that I put together, and I put every single person in this band, and I set the blueprint for it, and it worked. And it only stopped working when the blueprint stopped being followed in the way that I set it out. So, I don't want to sound too egotistical about it, because
I got you.
I didn't do everything myself. I did a lot more than, as one person than everybody else did, but I couldn't have done it without everybody else that was involved. Everybody else's contribution. But at the same time, it gave me the confidence that I wasn't on the wrong path.
Okay. So since we on that subject, what do you, in your opinion, what do you think it would take to make go-go mainstream? And when I say mainstream, I know some people have different opinions of mainstream, but my opinion of mainstream is if I'm in, Chicago, and I turn on the radio and I hear a go-go song. I'm in North Carolina, same thing. So that's my opinion. So in your opinion, what you think it would take to get go-go there?
Well, my opinion is of mainstream, right, in these days and times, is that there is consistently someone with a go-go sounding record on the Spotify top 50, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's to me, because radio is not super indicative, but I feel what you're saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think we're sort of on the same wavelength. Yeah, like to me, people are like, "Oh, mainstream, it's already gone mainstream," and no, it hasn't. It consistently, someone in the national and international psyche understanding that this is go-go, not just hearing a song that has a go-go beat and not even knowing what they're listening to. So yeah,
right.
So I think I mean, this could be a really long conversation, but there's a lot of things. I think that if you look at the moments in time when go-go has been successful, like Bustin' Loose, The Butt, Sardines, all of those songs sounded like what else was on the radio at the time, right? So Bustin' Loose, you know, it could fit with Earth, Wind & Fire and Cameo and
exactly.
Any of those other bands that were on the radio. Shake Your Thing or The Butt or whatever could fit in with, you know, Salt and Pepper and, you know, Big Daddy Kane or whatever else. I'm probably saying rappers of the wrong era, but, you know, there was that kind of sound. Yeah. I think that a problem with go-go is that we're like still trying to sound like we're from the 90s and wondering why kids that don't like, you know, the Migos don't like it. You know what I mean? I think you have to still create in mind, you know, keeping in mind what the sound of today is. And I don't think we've kept up with that very well. In terms of the sonics. I also think that the biggest problem, I think, with go-go going mainstream is the mindset. Because of the fact that go-go has been so, you know, regionally successful in a way that no other regional music or local music is anywhere else in the country. There's nowhere else where you can go and you can see the same band play 3-4 times a week, and it costs as much as it costs to go see Mary J. Blige to go see it. Now, the flip side of that is it's not usually the bands that are seeing all the upside of those extremely high ticket prices. Unfortunately, it's a lot of times the promoters. But I also understand because the bands and their teams, with the exception of a few, don't do as much to promote themselves as artists in other genres do. So I'm trying to stick on topic to your question, but there's just like a million. It's like an octopus. Like there's a million reasons why it's not. So there isn't one simple answer. It's basically, you know, the mindset is I guess the biggest one is that you have to understand that there's a lot of go-go artists who are like, or go-go musicians that are like, you know, I play in this band, you know, to make a little change and make some money, but really I'm working on my R&B or my hip-hop project because I know that that's probably where I'm going to actually make something. So until you start treating your go-go project with the same, you know, with the same intensity as you treat your R&B and hip-hop project that you think is really going to get you on, then it's forever just going to be a hobby and some side money. Yeah, because they're not putting it all into that craft. Right, and I think, and it's interesting. It's come up in a couple of interviews that I've had recently, actually last week, specifically with Wink from Junkyard and Charles Stevenson, who was the original manager from EU. And I had always sort of wondered where this. I mean, it's not unique to go-go, but it's more profound in go-go. There's this mentality that I'm just supposed to play and crank and be good, and some magical like A&R person is just gonna pop up out of thin air and discover me and press a button and make me rich. Yeah, and that's not how it works. However, what I learned just last week is that with Junkyard was playing on the buckets and cans on the corner of the street across from a club called Rumors, which is where all of the, you know, fancy entertainment people went. all the people that were in the music industry. And so this guy, who I forget the guy's name, but you would go and scope them out and check them out every week and watch them play. And he ended up bringing Rick Rubin down to see them play. And that's how the whole Def Jam thing happened. And then with EU, they got hired to play Spike Lee's birthday party, not by Spike Lee, but by the 930 Club, because they had played at the 930 Club a lot. Because from just local success. And Spike Lee took a liking to them and said, I want to put you in this movie. So in two of the more prominent examples of how go-go has been exposed to the rest of the world, that did happen. But that's like lightning striking, you know what I'm saying? It's like so uncommon, and it's so crazy that it's happened twice, you know, to two of the more so now it sort of makes a little more sense to me why the mentality of go-go is that that's just supposed to happen. Because it did. But that's not usually what happens when artists are successful. You know what I'm saying? In the music industry. So I think if you know, that's definitely not what happened with Mambo Sauce. Like, you know, I mean, even though Mambo Sauce wasn't on the level of either of those two, you know, it wasn't that at all. It was a lot of back-breaking ass work, and, you know, in Kyrie's shed in the back of his house in a freezing ass cold with a turbo engine ass heater sitting there while we're writing Welcome to DC, freezing our asses off. You know what I'm saying? And like me just pestering the fuck out of everybody that I knew. Listen to my band, listen to my band, listen to my band, to the point where people were clowning me like, yo, anybody trying to hear a little band? And then everybody's attitude changes when shit gets popping. You know what I'm saying? But that's another thing. Like, just as sort of an aside, everybody has this sort of, oh, well, don't fuck with me now. You know, you didn't fuck with me before. That's a bad way to look at it. Because people only have a certain amount of time. And they're not always going to see the vision that you have in your head. So don't discount the fact that they didn't understand what you were saying before just because they understand it now. I'm not saying you can't. I think it's funny, but I'm not mad at those people that didn't see the vision before me. Most people don't see the vision of anything that anybody's ever done.
No, you know sometimes it take them around. It take them time to come around.
Right. So I just think that, but that comes back to the mindset of the original questions. There's just there's a lot of negative energy in go-go around, oh, well, you didn't fuck with me before, so don't fuck with me now, or everybody's out to get you, or everybody is, you know, and that's obviously because a lot of that is true. But I think until we can sort of get past that always having that somebody's out to fuck you over type of situation, and it's still just going to sort of be in the same place. I mean, I'm out here in LA, and songwriters and producers and artists, they just get together all the time. They just play together. Like, they may be in a different project, they just jam, they just make music. They don't really like sit there and like argue over shit all the time. And I'm sure it happens, you know what I'm saying? But it's just the whole vibe is different. So I think that and I know I sound like a fucking weirdo LA person now, like vibe and energy and all that, but it really is sort of real. And I feel like the vibe and energy around go-go is just consistently sort of negative. And I think that if we're able to break, and I've been a part of that too, so I'm not pointing the fingers at anybody. But
both of us.
That, you know, that we can sort of, you know, move a little further. So sorry for the long ass answers to that question.
Okay. All right. So, Malachi, I just got a few more questions for you before we wrap this up, man. I wanted to ask you, are you currently managing any bands? You got your hands in go-go at all right now?
Yeah, well, yes, my hands are in go-go, but I'm not managing. So I've been running a booking agency in LA for the last 3 years. So since 2017. So most of the bands the go-go bands that you see booked at City Winery, I'm booking most of them there, with the exception of, so Chuck Brown Band, Belladonna, Rare Essence, and Proper Utensils are the only band that don't book there. But Backyard, Wood Band, Junkyard, Vibe, Secret Society, Subtle, all of those, I booked all those bands there. And I guess we sort of left part out that I used to run entertainment. I ran entertainment for Maryland Live Casino for 3.5 years before I moved back to LA again too. So I was the one that brought all those go-go bands to play there as well. So,
wow. So you was responsible for getting the go-go bands in what you say, Maryland Live?
yeah.
Wow.
I was in charge. I created that night. Yeah. And the karaoke night as well with Secret Society, live karaoke. I created that too. So,
Wow. Yeah, I seen some clips of that live karaoke. I thought that was real different. I like that.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't want to like, this is one thing I also want to say. I'm not like some genius or anything. Like when I got married to my wife, I had applied for the job at the casino prior to getting married. I went on our honeymoon. I absolutely hate karaoke. I'm a musician. I'm like, I don't want to sit there and listen to somebody sing badly all night. And my wife took me to this place one night,
Yeah.
and they were doing it with a karaoke machine. And I was like, this is the most awful shit I've ever heard. Don't ever take this shit. But we went on a honeymoon, and we went to Orlando, and we went Universal City, and she's like, we need to go to this live karaoke thing. She's like, come on, there's a live band and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, okay, I guess I'll go. We just got married. I got to be nice to this lady.
Yeah.
And we go, and it's like the dopest shit I've ever seen. The band is killing. The background singers are killing. And even though the people that are doing the karaoke can't really sing, the band is so good that I'm like, this is dope. So I had just applied for the casino. So I said, man, if I get the job at the casino, and I wasn't even applying for, or I did apply for entertainment, but they didn't have the position open. So I interviewed for events and promotions manager, and because I had worked at PGC and the other radio station in Vegas, so I had the events and promotions experience.
Okay.
And so, but I was like, I want to make this happen at the casino if I get this job. And they called me the next day for the job while I was still on my honeymoon and offered me the position. So that's sort of where that came from. So I started that even before I was in charge of entertainment. I was still doing promotions and events, and I convinced the entertainment guy to do the karaoke thing. So, but yeah, so to answer your question, I am booking, and then I booked Backyard at House of Blues New Orleans last year during Essence Festival. So I booked, and I CIA AA the year before them, so I do some bookings for them. I was Black Alley's exclusive agent for a while, but they, decided to do something different with the way they were going, so I'm not anymore. But I still do book shows for them here and there. I was the first one to book them at City Winery as well. And now I've started a production company. So I also own a website and an Instagram page called GoGo Ticks, which is a totally separate thing. But so I'm involved in GoGo that way. It's basically a listing site for concerts and go-go shows, and just a way to sort of like try to put a better face on go-go. Like for me, like I don't post like janky flyers and shit on there. I hate that. I just want it to be a clean way. So somebody that may not know what go-go is, that is coming to DC and wants to see it, it looks like they're looking at Live Nation's website or something like that instead of but also I started a production company because part of what I think is the way for go-go to become mainstream, I think is it's very difficult to do with a band as an artist. So I created a production company where I have two partners, Tabby Benet, who you may know is a rapper from DC and has done a lot of other stuff as well. Yeah. So he's my partner, and then Eric Petty, who Eric and I were co-managing Tabby's career starting in 2015 when I moved back out here. And so all three of us are partners in this. I've started a production company with some guys that do bounce beat production. So it's not a band, but they're actually producing the songs on a laptop or a computer. Okay. So I have 4 guys involved right now, and I'm looking for more. Right now I have Pork Chop from that plays drums for CCB. Yeah. And Mr. Drew, who used to play with TCB, and Sick With It, who used to play for, or may still, I'm not sure if they're still a band, but Queenie and the Crank Gods, who used to be with Reaction as well back in the day, and the Misfits, and then also Brooks, who played guitar for Reaction. So all of them are who he lives out here now. So Sick With It lives in Atlanta. Brooks lives out here in LA or north of LA, where I am. And then Mr. Drew and Pork Chop are still back in DC. So, and then I'm working with I haven't gotten to this point yet, but I'm going to start bringing in other producers that I know. Some of the guys that I interviewed on my show, which is one of them is Drew DeCaro. He goes by Falconry. He's the guitar player for Miguel and Vic Mensa, and he also produces with them as well. So he's going to be coming in on the project. Also a guy named Mike Bombs, who used to play in the band in Annapolis as well, who he works with he produces for Universal Motown artists, most specifically this girl named LaKaylee 47, but he works with Harold Lilly, who's like a legendary songwriter who wrote like "You Don't Know My Name" by Alicia Keys and "Can I Take You Tonight" by Luther Vandross and Ego, Beyonce, and like lots of shit. So I'm bringing those guys, and then also my man Vince, who used to play with me in the What Band. He doesn't know it yet, but he's going to be involved in this. I don't know if you know, but he was one of the 3 producers on the Cardi B "I Like It Like That" track last year.
Wow.
And he's got about 5 songs on the last Fast and Furious soundtrack, and does a lot of stuff with Kevin Gates and all those guys too. So so I'm not managing, but I am starting this production company. That's 70/70 Sounds. So if you see it on Instagram or anywhere, that's what that is. So
wow. So you not necessarily involved in the band, but you still got your hands deep in music. I love it. I love it. You stay busy. Sound like you having some success in what you got going on. I congratulate you for that.
Thanks. Well, yeah, booking is totally stopped with COVID, so I had to figure something else out to do. So
yeah, this COVID, man. I can't wait till it's done and over with. But before I let you go, Malachi, I just got one more question for you. In your opinion, do you see the bounce beat taking over congos as far as going to a live show?
I mean, I think it depends on the generation that you're talking about. I mean, I think that I need to cut this clip out. I don't have time to edit my videos. Like maybe I need to get your help to edit my interview videos, because you do a great job, I see. But I just don't have time to do it. But Wink said last week, he's like, bounce beat is go-go. So anybody that's saying that bounce beat is go-go, funky stuff Wink from Junkyard says it is. So I don't give a fuck what you say. But so I don't know that it's going to take it over, but I think for the younger generation, that's what they like. But I mean, I think the bigger question is anything going to be go-go? Because the young bounce beat bands are like in their late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
I started playing go-go when I was 15. Like, I don't think there's many 15-year-olds that give a shit about bounce beat or crank.
Yeah,
right now. I agree. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah, because a few people that I've been interviewing, because, me being in Florida, I can't be hands-on and going to shows and all that. They're telling me that, they stopped involving the youth, which I think is a problem, because you got to keep them involved in order for it to grow.
Well, I don't think they stopped involving the youth. What I think happened, and I talked about this with Chris Richards from the Washington Post on an interview a few weeks ago. Yeah. He was talking about how he really appreciates about go-go that it's a tradition that's been passed down through the generations. And that my thing is if you don't make something cool with go-go again, there's going to be no more generations. Like if you get, like people are arguing about crank versus bounce beat or congos versus timbales or whatever, like you're wasting time. You need to figure out what the fuck is what these kids like. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because they want to be rappers. They don't give a shit about go-go right now. Yeah. So unless you make go-go cool, the rest of that shit doesn't matter. So that's what my old white ass is trying to do.
So. I love it. Man, that was great, Malachi. I really appreciate you doing this for me, man. If I can ask you, who would you like to see interviewed on FaceTime with GoGo, if anybody?
Let's see.
Of course, somebody that you probably haven't already talked to, that you haven't already.
Yeah, well, I like Michelle Blackwell. She wasn't I think you may have more luck getting her because my show is at a specific time and it's live. And she wasn't able to, like she got a new job like the week before she was supposed to come on and she had to cancel because of the time.
Yeah.
But she's always a great person to talk to. She's really smart and has a lot of great ideas. I just, because of her work schedule, I'm not going to be able to get her on anytime soon. So she's definitely a good person though.
Okay, cool.
A lot of insight.
Cool. So before we wrap this up, Malachi, is there anything you want to tell the people?
Just to check out. So I guess I can just tell you where everything is. So there's Alive Agency is my booking agency, which is not doing much right now because of COVID, but it's Alive with 2 L's, so ALLIVE. And then there is GoGo Tix, which is gogotix.co is the website. Obviously there are no shows on there right now, but there are, my interview show called GoGo Talks. The schedule for that is on there. So you can go to gogotix.co. It's also at Get GoGo Tix on Instagram. And then also 7070 Sound. G is the 7th letter of the alphabet. So if you take 7070, it's GoGo. So GOGO, but it's 7070 Sound.
Okay.
7070sound.com, and it's just everywhere. So Facebook, 7070 Sound, Instagram 7070 Sound, SoundCloud, YouTube. So we've got 4 remixes up now. There's 3 more coming out this week. So that's what we're starting with, is doing bounce beat remixes of popular songs right now. So if you go to 7070 Sound right now, you can check out the remixes that are up now, and there'll be, maybe by the time this airs, there'll be three more up as well. So working on remixes first, and then sort of the idea is to develop the sound of, go-go enough, but mainstream enough too. It's a hard balance to strike, and that's what we're trying to get to.
Yeah.
And so the remixes kind of gives a low pressure way to do that. And so as time moves along, we'll get better and better at doing that, and then start trying to look at placing those tracks with other artists, and then eventually start developing artists on our own. So.
Okay. All right, cool. But I forgot to ask you this one, Malachi. For my people, do you have any shows, an embarrassing moment where something just went totally wrong?
Probably like a million of them. The one that sticks out to me is when I was playing with Backyard. So Northeast Groovers and Backyard have a very different style. What Band and Backyard have a very different style. Like the Northeast is more like, I guess more like hip hop sample, so like from a guitar player standpoint, with me, I could just sort of like my main sort of responsibility was to chuck and, to hit on the one. So Backyard, obviously, filling in for Bob, he's a much more like, he's playing he's playing, he's comping chords, he's playing all over, he's obviously a significantly better guitar player than I am. And I just remember we were playing, I think it was Jay's Sports Cafe in Laurel, if I'm not mistaken. We were playing there, and we came out, and typically I can just, you tell me what key something's in, I can just fuck around in the key, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
We were playing, I don't remember what the Maroon 5 song was, but it was a Maroon 5 song. And we hadn't rehearsed it. And which was weird, because with Backyard, we were rehearsing the songs. With Northeast Groovers, we barely ever rehearsed, and we just made some shit up. But with Backyard, we were rehearsing, and I guess we just didn't get to that song or something. And I was so fucking lost. Like, I just couldn't find the key. Like, I couldn't. And then I would think I would find it, and I would start playing, and it would just be off. And I was like, oh, this is fucking embarrassing. And it was just like, yeah. This is not to say that Backyard musicians are better than Northeast Groovers musicians. It's just that the style of playing is totally different.
Yeah.
And so
yeah,
I was just not in my element with that particular thing. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
luckily I have a pretty strong chuck. And so I can, like, that sort of gets me over because I'm like a mediocre guitar player. You know what I mean? I don't even play guitar anymore. That was probably the most embarrassing moment I've
Okay,
had.
all right. That wasn't too bad compared to some of the stories I'd have heard. But well,
Yeah, no, I
Malachi,
didn't
man,
like, you know, I don't know. I don't drink or smoke, so, you know, I'm
yeah.
generally fairly well in control of myself. So most of my embarrassing moments are just me sucking at my instrument. So
All right, Malachi. Well, it's been a pleasure, man. I really appreciate this again. And to everybody out there watching, this is FaceTime with GoGo, and we'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace out.
all right. Have a good one.
Welcome to DC.